Okay. I just want to send an invite link to guests. Hi guys. Guys. It's another difficult morning. Whew. Days are certainly not the same. And because I'm trying to build this platform, I have to be consistent. So I have to be here this morning. We just lost a teacher at MAMiya again, the second one in a month. So it's a little bit traumatizing. So, sorry guys, I'm a little bit teary and I was hoping that we could do this properly without the tears. But obviously, we are human. Good morning. Whoa, guys. If I can't get through this live, I'm going to have to get off so I can deal with my things. But MAKHOSI THINGO was a great teacher on the MAMiya platform. And we are so thankful for the time that we had with her. And I'm going to do my best to do this live. But if I'm not coping, then I'll see you guys next week, Monday. Whew. Right. Let me just breathe and just get it together, guys. Sorry, I loved her so much. Yo, it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. So, sorry, guys. It wasn't my intention to cry for you. I actually really thought that I could do this. So sorry about that. Let me just shift the conversation completely from there because then we can actually talk. So yesterday, we were invited to Andile Tama's birthday party, which was such a blessing. I didn't really know anybody there. So it was an interesting experience, you know. But what I thought was really special is that, because it doesn't happen often. So what my calling is that I've got strength. So whenever I, in the material world, see someone going through a lot, it's in my nature to just go and stand next to them and just be a platform and just be. So when Andile was going through all his things and getting humiliated out of EFF and being abused by the system, and then he got sick, you know, there was just a lot that he went through his shadows. And during the shadows, I was there, you know, and I was there with MAMiya and giving him platforms and like making sure that white capital does, because I know that my voice is quite powerful and is heard, then I know that there are times that I have to counterbalance what the white media is writing about people, especially African people, because I know how the system is. So I use my platforms for that, right? And I'm saying this because I'm telling you the backstory because I wish there was more light here. I'm telling you the backstory because I don't think everybody does this. So, I mean, I'm there. I don't expect payment or I don't expect anything from when I do that thing of mine where I just stand there and I speak up for you and I stand up for you. I don't expect anything. So, it was very special for him to invite me to a special occasion now that he's out the shadows. Not everybody does that. There are many people that I've used my voice for, and when they are fine and they find their places to eat, they kind of disappear. So it was nice to see that Andile is actually the real thing. And I just want to say that I will always, always back up that man because I've seen. And I know that's a stupid reason to be like, yeah, that's the real thing. But for someone who lives in her calling, like, I know what I do. I know what I do when people are down. I know, I can see it. I know it. I've seen that part of myself. And for someone in their happy days to come and say, come, I see you and I appreciate you. It was really, really special. So yeah. I don't want to jab nobody, but yes, I have seen people who just like keep it moving afterwards. So there was another thing that I wanted to address, because it's kind of aligned to Andile also, is EFF. I actually want to address EFF now. The thing about death, right, is that it makes you have to consolidate a few things. And it makes you take out the bullshit. So EFF, let me tell you my journey with EFF, right? My journey with EFF was a lot like how MK is starting. So when this young revolutionary movement starts, I know my power, guys. I know the thing I do on social media. I'm aware of it. And I know how to maneuver it and I know how to manipulate it. And I know. That's why I got sued. Because that thing has got power. So, sorry. So, when EFF was forming, I used my social media for them and I pushed. And what I also know is that as much as people say they don't like me or I irritate them and I'm a bit too much for them, people know that my brain works. And people listen to me, actually. They can hear me. So, I mean, even with MK, there was initially people were a bit shy and they were calling it a stock fail and they were a bit shying away. But the minute that I started pumping MK, then the energy could come together nicely and everybody went. So with EFF, it was the same. I used that energy and whatever, and I pushed. But when people started getting inside, go EFF, then they started being very powerful. And they forgot the ones who were pushing for them and using their media platforms for them. And there was a time when I don't know what had happened. I don't remember, but had Cyril or somebody made a female deputy president somewhere? Then I was excited. I was like, yo, if there's a female deputy president in the class, in the country, then Juju must make me the deputy president of EFF. And the reason I actually said that was to point out the fact of the power imbalance of, because I was playing with words. but people just took it literally, right? But in that playing with words, I wanted to point out to FF that why is it that there's one person who can decide who is in which role, right? So I played on that, but then people wrote on it and took it literally, right? Then Julius also responded and he said, I will not have a failed poet in our organization, right? Which was not necessary. It was mean-spirited. It was just mean-spirited. It was unnecessary. It was one of those moments where they could have laughed amongst themselves to be like, haha, we don't want her, and laughed amongst ourselves. But he instead chose to make a public spectacle out of me, you know? And as a result, that narrative has played and it's gone on fire and it's been a wildfire and it's been going. And Nziki Mazwa is a failed poet. And because CIC Julius Malema, their God, has said it and has made it okay, they're masturbating and laughing. Né? So then they do that to me and they try to humiliate me. Then, you know, it's chilled. We can't really take things personally. I keep moving, and I mean, I'm always critical of everybody. So I'm a critical thinker. When I see something, I see the black and the white, and I'm a perfectionist also. So I zone in on things that are not comfortable so that I can fix them. It's just my nature. Even at home or with myself, I'm a perfectionist. I'm just like, so right. So, I mean, I criticize all political parties. So I continue on my things, whatever. Then EFF starts having an animosity against me, right? And because now they're getting bigger and bigger, their arrogance is growing. And I'm like a soccer ball for them. The fighters will come to my TL and just swear at me and kick me around. And then it's like, quack, quack, quack. Yeah, ooh, yeah, failed poets, dirty failed poets. And they have their party. This is the FF, right? I'll come to the comments just now, guys. I just want to get this off my chest. So it starts growing, the EFF, as you saw the past couple of years. They start being arrogant. I started this relationship, a relationship online with one of the fighters. What was his name? Apostle Deza. You know, and we're cool, you know, and we're chatting because I don't take it personally, right? And I also realize that if a whole organization is going to be fighting me, it means that there's a level of power that I'm holding that they want. So I don't take it personally. Anyways, I create an online friendship with this guy called Apostle. I don't even know him. I've never met him. Then it gets closer to the elections, you know, and I'm trying to do an election special. I'm getting political party members and leaders to come to Moya so that we can unpack and see who we're voting for, right? Other political parties come. I reach out to EFF. They blue tick me. I emailed someone called Marshall Dlamini many times. He didn't answer. Even Dalimpof, I said to him, I've been trying to get hold of Julius so that he can be on Moya. Then he was like, okay, you can just keep trying again. Sorry. So it was very clear that they didn't want me and they didn't want to have anything to do with me. And it was from the top. It was very clear. So, you know, then I leave it. I stopped sending emails to invite them to Moya. It's cool because now they've made it clear that they don't want. And then comes the elections when they're doing their we've got a guest coming on at 10:30, guys, but let me continue my story time about the EFF. So, you know, then it comes up to that thing that they had in Durban, that fill up the dome, Yago Devon. So I happened to be in Durban that weekend, to be going to Durban that weekend. I call Apostle to be like, can I get a media accreditation? What? I want to come cover, whatever. Then they've got big egos and they just like, they're all over the place. They're just blue ticking. Then I don't know what actually happens. Then they start swearing at me on internet. And then they're just making a public spectacle out of me. I don't know what was going on, but I remember that spectacle. I'm sure you guys remember it. It wasn't too long ago. Where they even screen grab the WhatsApp messages that I sent. And I think that they thought that they were showing Uti. But then people are like, no, but Nziki sent you such a nice, decent email asking you for accreditation. Why are you doing this, right? So that's kind of like the attitude. Everyone's a bit confused online to be like, why are you doing this? So then they're masturbating all over me, acting big because they thought they'd arrived. They thought they were winning the elections. They thought, we've arrived. Then, you know, because I am spiritual, and a lot of you, I don't know why you ignore it or undermine it, but guys, and I'm not saying that other people are not bandabamadlozi, but some of us have got callings on different levels, you know, as much as on earth, there's different levels of people. Spiritually, there's also different levels of people. And there are people, some of us who are amongst the other people here, who, when you hurt them or offend them, it just goes badly. It just goes badly, and it goes badly immediately. So when the EFF did that thing, and they were trying to celebrate, they fill up the dome, which they filled up. Ne? Then they're arrogant, until Julius Mamina happened. Right. Then everybody kept quiet. Then the EFF ego came down. It settled down on my, and because me, I've got class, which I don't. But I didn't ride that thing when Julius's Mafinyelas came out, Julius Mamina. I did not ride it. I did not laugh and what I could have done with it. I did not treat them the way that they treated me, right? So I just saw it and I was just like, shit, these guys don't realize what they're messing with, because I'm an energy, I'm a spiritual energy. So if you're going to insult me, vele, there's going to be some form of retaliation from the other side. So then, okay, then they were arrogant, and then now, then they do badly in the elections. Then obviously there's more silence on my TL. People are being humbled. And then, okay, so people, let me check the time, guys, because we've got a guest coming in at 10:30. We're going to be talking about the political affairs. We're speaking to Thandolwethu Dlanga, who gave us the episode on the PAC. So you can look forward to that soon. So anyways, so they lose badly in the elections, and then there's like a moment of silence. Also because now that energy that I used to put on EFF, I've now put it in MK. And now MK is moving, and MK is happy, and we are. You know, then there's a silence. But now what starts irritating me is that now the fighters want to come take out their frustration on my timeline recently. And I just want to say, fuck you. Fuck you, fighters. Fuck EFF. Fuck Malema. Fuck all the leaders. I don't give a fuck anymore. Stay the fuck out of my life. I will stay out your business. We will stay out of each other's business. I'm fucking sick and tired. I've tolerated a lot of EFF abuse and bullshit. And I just want to say, fuck you, EFF. I'm done with you. And it's cool. It doesn't matter to you and you don't care and it's fine and hooray, I'm happy. So I'm just letting you know that when you come to my TL on Twitter and social media, I will be blocking fighters because I've had enough. I will no longer be abused by fighters. You can call me a failed poet and dirty from over there. I don't care. But this particular story time was just to say, fuck EFF. That's all. Then just to end off, because you guys, some of you members saw the live I had with Carl Niehaus. So, you know, the first episode of Carl Niehaus, Carl starts panicking on my WhatsApps because he now thinks he's offended Julius and now the fighters are fighting with him for coming to Moya. Then he's panicking and he's asking me not to respond, and he's asking me all these things and he's panicking, you know, and he irritates me and he affects our friendship. And then a week later, he says, please, can I come do part 2? Then because I'm stupid, I'm like, okay, come. After all the drama he's given me, because I'm stupid, I'm like, okay, come do your part 2. People want it. Do you know what he comes to do on part 2? He comes to part 2 after he knows that there's tension between me and the EFF. I've given him a platform to talk about his story, because he's another one where I saw what they were doing to him. When ANC threw him under the bus, I was one of the voices that used my platforms to make society take him seriously again. When he was there being a one-man protester and everybody laughing at him, I was there encouraging and supporting and using my platforms so that he's okay. So anyways, he goes to EFF, which was also my suggestion. But anyways, he goes there. So this first episode happens, and then he's panicking and it just gets untidy and stuff. And, you know, then he asks for second episode. At second episode, you know what he does? He comes here, then he starts promoting EFF on my platform. And I'm like, wow, I just took my brand to come and sanitize your brand, to come and give you a platform, because people don't actually even know what you did in apartheid or your struggle credentials. They just know you as this white man who is. I come and I give a platform to you for the youth. And then when you masturbate on it, you sing for your supper on it, and you give a platform to these people who have been abusing me, and you know that they've been abusing me. So when you guys saw that interview end abruptly, and this is the members only, and I'm still going to figure out if I'm posting that interview, because I don't like people who force themselves onto me. I'm a very giving personality. My spirit is very generous, and to a fault, right? So I'll even look stupid the way I'll be generous with my platform and with my meanness. I'll look stupid. But don't you dare take from me. Don't you dare. That is how my relationships end with anybody. I'm a giver, but don't take from me. So when you come and I've given you a nice platform, and now you take advantage of it to impress the people who are insulting me. Guys, our guest is behind the scenes there. Let me go to your comments quickly. Our guest is coming in the next 7 minutes. I just needed to get that off my chest, you know, because the whole EFF thing has been happening for a while. You know, it's been happening for a while, and I've been taking it and taking it and taking it. And today, I'm just like, no, fuck you, fighters. Fuck you. And stay the fuck out of my life. I don't need you. I don't want you. Just fuck off. Nonke. Fuck off. Okay, Tobela MaMiya. Where's this? Okay, sure. Tobela MaMiya, happy awakening Monday morning, my people. Joining away from motherland in the UK. What's up, UK? Hey, in UK, you must contribute in your pounds. Contribute to the channel. You know, I'm tired of being told that I'm broke, guys. Please contribute. Zulu shaman Dlanga saying the humiliation ritual in spirituality can be so painful yet powerful. If you understand the place and time and reasoning, I have realized that when people have to be recruited to destroy you. Yeah. EFF has been busy with a humiliation ritual with me. And I'm just like, it's done now. It's game over. I'll never even engage EFF. I'll never talk about them. I'll never talk to them. It's done. Morning, Zandy. Morning, my darling. Anthony. Anthony, you're so addicted to this channel. You know that. I've never seen anyone who is as addicted as you. The Black Consciousness Movement in America loves you, Ntikimazwai. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Anthony. We've got UK, we've got America in the building. We got good morning, Diamond. Happy Monday. Guys, I know you come get energy from here on Mondays. Sorry for crying for you in the beginning. I just was really sad. We just found out this morning. So it's just, I'm still processing the information. Morning, Bongani. Good morning, rich African elder. Good morning, good morning. Bongani Mina saying EFF is confusing our people, causing headaches. One hand, the ideas are good, but the flip-flopper brand remains. That's the thing, you know? That's another thing where it's like, okay, we're fighting for the nation, but we are still into this white capital promotion. Like, can you pick a struggle? Can you pick a struggle? This thing is telling me you guys are chatting away. BLF is more authentic, definitely. That's why BLF was taken out. You guys don't realize that BLF was huge, but Abo IEC, Abo Oppenheimer, Abo the people who own IEC and own our politicians were like, fuck, cut, and limutama, cut. So as long as you know that, you know. Hi, Musomi. Hi, guys. Thank you for the love, guys. Lungani, good morning. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Tahuti, Grand Rising Queen. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. Though we just lost a soldier, but it's okay. It's okay. I wonder, somebody's laughing there in the comments. I wonder what I had said. But I think it's one of the fighters laughing that I'm saying fuck you, but fuck you, fuck off. You'll never be on my radar ever again. This is the last time I even mentioned EFF. Watch this space. I'm gonna start delete. And I did. I unfollowed all the leaders and stuff. I actually blocked. All your EFF ladies will tell you. Both Julius Floyd, they'll tell you that they blocked from my account. Because I was like, you are shit. Because you are mobilizing people to attack me. And what is even worse about them is that they had a conversation where they said that men mustn't attack me. They were like, the women must attack me because of that whole, you know what. So they were very strategic about it. So, you know, I don't give a fuck. Even the EFF women, I don't give a fuck. I don't even know their names, to be honest. So let me keep it moving. Thokozani MaMiya. Uyibinile lempi and EFF is just clutching at straws. Mina ngithi makunyiwe once. Grace from Moloto Mpumalanga. Yes. I also feel like I won. EFF is going to die a slow death now. That's all that's going to happen. Bugiso BTV, it's so nice to have you here as usual. Thank you. Guys, check us out. Did you see the background, guys? Yesterday we had a live stream with President Walton, and this is where we learned how to do this background. So now we're getting better and better and better. We're having our guest come in the next 2 minutes. We've got Thandolwethu Dlanga. If you remember, he gave us the PAC lecture on Mangaliso Sobukwe. So it is going to be interesting to figure out now what does South Africa look like from the left lens. And as you know here, I always give you Ubu consciousness, Ubu woke. The black narrative, because Abo ENCA, Abo News 24, Abo Newsroom, all of them are giving you a white narrative, and you guys are just following it up, and you just think that's normal. It's not. It's not normal. You guys need the black narrative because you're black. I need you're black. So you're going to experience the world from a black point of view. The whites, when they look at you, they just see, they say throw them to the dogs. So I think they see animals when they see you guys. So as the animals, can you just have the animal point of view and stop fooling yourselves and looking at yourself from the madam point of view? Hey, Bongani. You guys can read Bongani's comments there. Thandolwethu, I'm bringing you into the studio now. Good morning.
Good morning, MaMiya. I hope you can hear me well. Good morning.
We can hear you perfectly. Wow. Thank you so much for agreeing to join us this morning, and we are looking forward to your words.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And thanks for inviting me once again. It's been a long time coming. Unfortunately, I've been unwell for some time, but at least I'm recovering. My voice is a little bit, I'm not sure if it is, but we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Right. Right. You Moya teachers, you keep giving me such heartache. Please, I don't want to lose any more Moya teachers. Please, can you just, I need a break for 2024, please. So please get better, Dr.
Thanks. Diabulele.
So where do you want to start it for us?
Firstly, I think I must just say thank you very much for having these platforms and having these conversations. And
can I ask, sorry, just you can start and talk, but I just need to go fetch my battery. So I'm going to be off screen. I'm just explaining that, but you can go ahead.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much, guys, for having me. As I was saying to MaMiya, mna ke igama lami nguThandolwethu kaDlanga, ngumuntu ongwalo uyengwayo emalini kundima kaNkombuzo, umntana wenkosi ongathi inkosi emntwini. I'm a Pan-Africanist and an activist, and I do majority of my work in an academy, which means at the university level. I tend to engage on things at a very intellectual level, because I want to pose certain questions around certain things. And I use historical materialism as a basis of my analysis. So today I thought, because there's been a big conversation in South Africa around the issue of constitutionalism and constitution. You hear people talking about it in the manifestos. There must be an African constitution, an African law, and all those things. And I agree that we need to consider those things. However, I don't want to discuss the constitution and the constitutionalism in this conversation, but I want to talk about the politics of flags. You know, the politics of flags and a flag, especially in South Africa. You've had a flag that you call a Rainbow Nation flag, a flag that was adopted in 1994. And it was first hoisted in the democratic South Africa on the 10th of May, 1994. By the way, a 10th of May is an important day in South Africa. You must understand this. MaMiya, let me just, I must give this point. The 10th of May is the day on which South Africa was established. That means in 1910. In the Union of South Africa. It was established on the 10th of May. Now, the month of May has become an important month in the history and in the making of this idea of South Africa, the state of South Africa. So even from 1910, the month of May has always been consistent. When the apartheid regime decided to take over and re-establish a Boer republic, it did that also in May, in May, the inauguration. And unfortunately, they then, or fortunately, they broke away from the British paternalism by 1961 and established South Africa as a republic, because from 1910 until 1961, it has always been a union of South Africa. Even when 1948 occurred, it was the Union of South Africa. When
what's the difference? What's the difference between the Union and the Republic?
The Union, it was the amalgamation of the two European settler dominations. That is the Dutch group and the British group. They had unionized amongst themselves. and agreed to establish the idea of South Africa, the country called South Africa. So it was a union, like this union of called this thing called Government of National Unity. So there was a union of two settler descendants uniting against the Africans to dominate the country and establish a country called South Africa. Now, in 1961, the Dutch descendants, which is now the Boers or the Afrikaners, who had won their elections in 48, they decided that they no longer want to be friends with the British. So they broke away from the Commonwealth and they established, they called it the Republic. Now, if my political analysis tends to say, I don't think the British liked that fact, because if you look at it extensively, then the British decided to be so much supportive of the anti-apartheid struggle, because I think they were not happy with the fact that the Boers, which is now the National Party, had broke away from the Commonwealth, from the Union of South Africa. So then they were unhappy, but they then utilized the anti-apartheid movement as a way of fighting back and going back into controlling South Africa. Fortunately or unfortunately, you will see that the biggest, I've said this before, the biggest anti-apartheid movement in the world was in the United Kingdom. And I think there's a question and something to ponder there, if one has to understand that dynamic. So by 1994, I'm talking about the 10th of May. By 1994, when the democratic South Africa was established, and I think it had a lot of influence from the British, because if you look at its constitution, it has got American, Germany, and UK undertones. It has got so much elements that are related to those particular societies. So when it succeeded to destroy apartheid, then Tatu had to be inaugurated on the 10th of May, which brings us back to the original position of the establishment of South Africa on the 10th of May in 1910. And beyond that, every other inauguration has occurred in the month of May, excluding the new one. Excluding the new one of Cyril Ramaphosa because of the late elections and stories. But throughout, after 1994, there has always been that point of making sure that you go back to the settler foundations of South Africa. The month of May must be the month of inaugurating the idea. So you keep that mental link to colonialism and coloniality. So there's been those continuities that have been taking place. So the month of May, the 10th of May, is very important. Don't play. Don't think it is something that is important. However, I'm not there. I don't want to talk about that, but I want to talk about the flag. So it was first hoisted on the 10th of May, 1994. Now, I want to discuss as to how did this flag came about. You will remember before the elections, MaMiya, there was a hullabaloo, I call it a hullabaloo, about an advertisement, a political advertisement of the Democratic Alliance banning a virtual flag. And everybody was complaining about, you can't destroy the flag, you can't ban the flag, this is a sign of social cohesion, this is a sign of unity, you are being disrespectful, and those other things, which for me, I thought maybe they are relevant for people who are so interested in protecting the flag. But my idea in this conversation is to say, do you know the flag? When you were protecting it, when you were saying it is something wrong that the Democratic Alliance did, do you actually know the history of flags in South Africa? Even the flag that you say, it is a sign of social cohesion. Do you know it? And this is my reasoning for that. And for some leftists or for some materialists, ask you, why must we discuss the flag? The flag is not an important conversation. And many would say, why are we even talking about the flag of South Africa? Because it is just a flag. A flag is a flag. It is not. It does not give us any freedoms. Excuse me. Or it does not buy a loaf of bread. But Franz Fanon also speaks about this and says, true freedom is in the land, not in the flag. The flag freedom is abstract, and it does not provide dignity and recognition. And recognition that we are talking about is the Hegelian understanding of recognition, when he says it's a recognition that is reciprocal and it wants to affirm cooperation, mutual respect, and dignity between two self-consciousnesses. Unfortunately, we don't have that type of recognition in South Africa. The African consciousness has not been respected by the colonial invaders. The African consciousness has not been cooperated with. The African consciousness has not been given the dignity. And the self-consciousness of the African has not been recognized by the settler colonial ideas. And that's why Robert Mangaliso Sobokwe said, we are going to fight and continue to fight until we have the right to call our souls our own. And that's why I raise this to say, some people think it's an important conversation, if like, but for me, it is an important conversation. And using history as a foundation. Many people, and in the curriculum of South Africa, history has diminished. Even in the universities, the department of histories or the faculties where history is located, you would find a lot of older people and few, because nobody wants to converse about history. But history is a launching pad. Professor Henry Clark. History is a launching pad, and it is a clock that people use to tell their time of day. It can be used as a compass for people to find themselves on map of human geography, because history tells us who we are, but most importantly, where we must be. So history is an important thing. Now, I'm going back to that history and how did we end up with the flag we have in South Africa? And between 1993 and 1994, the National Party government met with its most prominent partner and negotiator, the ANC, the African National Congress of South Africa. And they had agreed in CODESA to establish new signs of the new. But then the apartheid government published an advert to ask people to come up with sketches of the new flag, for the democratic South Africa flag. So the apartheid regime is asking people to bring in for the new South Africa. So the people who are oppressive or who do not want a democracy established, they asked that there must be a sketches. And two specific newspapers were used to publish this notice. It was the Cape Daily and the Die Burger newspapers and other advertising agents. And the public was asked to submit these sketches. And unfortunately or fortunately, about 7,000 sketches were received. And there was then a committee established, a committee that is going to deal with this. It involved the chairperson, Professor Elise Botha. Professor Elise Botha was a professor at, she was a professor at the Stellenbosch University. And she died, I think, in 2017 or 2007, if I'm not mistaken. So she comes from an Afrikaner tradition, and she was the chairperson of that. And she understood the culture history of South Africa and so on. And also other people who were involved were Mrs. Maluleke, who was the vice chairperson, and Mr. Brownwell, Professor Gilfillan, Bill Jadin, Professor Reneke, Themba Segai, Tulu, Professor Fatima Mir, and Miss Nothemba Mlonzi. This was the group of people that saw and set over these 7,000 sketches. And unfortunately, from these 7,000 sketches, not even one of them out of the 7 got the right sketch for the new South Africa. And I mentioned the name of Mr. Brownwell. This is an important name for your audience. Your audience must pick up this name, write it down. You will have to look at it. Who was this Mr. Brownwell? Fred Brownwell, he served in the National Symbols Committee, the committee that I was talking about. And he was a State Herald head from 1982, and he was in charge of designing many symbols of the apartheid regime government. But after the 7,000 submissions, you will remember Rolf Meyer. Your audience will remember Rolf Meyer. He's the former chief negotiator of the National Party, and he co-founded the UTM of General Olomis. They founded the UTM with General Olomis. He stated that after they could not find the sketch in this 7,000, he said, after we did not agree with all the submissions made by the public, and we asked Mr. Fred Brownwell to come up with something within a week. Remember, this Fred Brownwell is the one who was the head of heraldry, but also was serving in the committee of these sketches, this new flag of South Africa. There was no new flag, there was no flag at the time. And he said, I quote, by then, Mr. Brownwell was already known for the fact that he had designed the new Namibian flag. This is Rolf Meyer saying. So the flag that you see in Namibia as an independence flag was also developed by the apartheid government of South Africa. And this comes from Dr. Rolf Meyer. And when he did not get the agreement of all the 7,000 submissions made by South Africans, the matter was referred to Brownwell. That means now Mr. Brownwell. Now, and he came up with a few ideas. This is what Rolf Meyer is saying. But what you are hearing from Rolf Meyer is that, okay, the apartheid government was in charge of the process of developing the democratic South African flag. That's how I read it. Now, Fred Brownwell was born in 1940. He graduated from Rhodes University, and in your alumni, MaMiya, and we understand that Rhodes University has got that particular linkage of Anglicanism or Englishness in it. Mm-hmm. So he graduated from there. It will come back later, this point that I'm raising about Rhodes University and being an English institution or English establishment. And he did his postgrad at UNISA, and then he became the head of the Herald, as I've said, and also he got his PhD at University of Pretoria, and he died in 2019. And he got his PhD about this flag. His PhD is on this flag. So if you want to go and read his PhD on this flag, it is in my alumni as well, the University of Pretoria, a foundation of Africa similar to Stellenbosch. Now, so it has been part and parcel of the heraldry and the development of the things of South African heritage. But there is a twist in the story. Whatever he writes on this PhD, and he's been acknowledged as a person who did the sketch. But there's a person called Thembani Mqhayi. Thembani Mqhayi claims that Brownwell defrauded his intellectual property. So Brownwell stole the intellectual property of Tatu Mqhayi, which is the sketch of the flag, of the democratic flag. And he argues that at the time when the sketches were being made, Brownwell was the head of the Herald. So all the sketches were coming to his office, to him basically. So when when these sketches came, it was at that moment that Brownwell stole his particular sketch. But Brownwell says something else. I will come to it. So Tatunkai accuses Brownwell of this intellectual thievery, and on the Times of the 11th June 2021, Utatunkai is reported to say, "We are going to court to fight over the origin of the South African flag." So there has been somebody who was contesting this establishment of the South African and the making of the South African flag. So, and this is not merely about stealing of intellectual property of Africans by Europeans and those powerful. Of Mike Steinberg, the curator and the owner of Apartheid Museum. Yes, and his intellectual property was stolen by the Kropp brothers with the help of the Mandela administration. So there are papers in this regard that discusses this point. And so there are reports about the contestation by Utatunkai, but yeah, it seems as if Utatunkai did not win, but Utatunkai is still alive. You can try and contact him. I think he's in Uganda, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he would be willing to talk about it because the story is in public domain. But there has been a person who contested this particular idea. But Utatu Brownwell, the person who has been credited with this sketch and this flag, he says, when he talks about the flag, and he dismisses Mkhayu's his claim, and he says, Brownwell, I'm going to quote him. He says, "I came up with the idea of the sketch of the new flag while I was attending a 15th International Congress of Vexillology in August 1993. In my mind, I asked, aren't we looking for something depicting convergences and unification?" So he says it came from his head. But in his PhD and all the reports, he doesn't talk about what Rolf Meyer said to him. But yeah, I don't think maybe for him it is not important. But he doesn't mention that Rolf Meyer had asked him to say, come up with a sketch because we are not happy with the 7,000 sketches. Imagine 7,000 sketches. You can't even find one, and then you can find a person, and then the person would do the sketch. But nonetheless, it's not an important point. Now, so he says he did this design of the new flag in his private capacity. Remember, this person was a head of the Herald, so he was working for the government in the Department of Arts and Culture under the apartheid regime. In 1993, he was appointed to be a commissioner of the selecting committee that I was talking about earlier. So he was part of that committee to determine the sketch of the new flag. But then he was asked privately by Rolf Meyer to do the sketch in his private capacity. So there are official his other private capacity that he had in his thinking. So think about these things that I'm raising. These are just questions because I don't have answers to them. But these are some of, excuse me for that, these are some of them, the elements that I find when I'm analyzing how this development came to signify this. However, MaMiya Utatunkai, when he talks about this claim, he says the color coordination in his sketch, not the sketch that was, he says his sketch, it had red, which signified the blood spilled during apartheid. Black signifies the black people of South Africa. A gold signifies the mineral resources. Green signifies the country's vegetation. Blue, the sky with which the Africans are under, and white represents the white people of South Africa. To understand this dimension that I'm giving from Tatunqai's perspective, because Brownman has got his own as well, that I will talk about earlier. But nonetheless, yeah, Brownman, his color coordination, he said, we're looking for a convergence and a unification of something. So we're trying to unify or make convergences of this South African history to a flag. Now, what are these convergences? Again, I'm doing history because I like to analyze using historical relations. During the World War I, after the construction of the Union of South Africa in 1910, many people believe that the Union of South African Soldiers who participated in World War I were using the so-called apartheid flag. You know this, there's this flag that was prominent in the media in South Africa. It's called the apartheid flag. But the people of the olden days, they used to call it oranje blanje blauw flag. So oranje blanje blauw, you see those colors, that orange, blue, and I don't know what this blanje means, but I forgot. I'm not. But those are the Africans and how it was known. So many people think that the initial commandos or the initial soldiers of South Africa participated in carrying that so-called apartheid flag. No, they were not carrying that, because that flag came a little bit later. But they had what they call a red and a blue duster flag. A red and a blue duster flag is a flag that you would, I'm not sure if I can explain it, but it has got elements of the British flag. You see the blue British flag, the New Zealand, it has got those elements. And was that the other one was red, the other one was blue. And both of these flags were used by settler colonies. South Africa was using it, and Canada was using it. Now, people are going to ask me why Canada was also using it. Canada is also a settler colony of the United Kingdom. And Canada's flag, the one that you see in the red and white one, was only adopted in 1965. So it's a recent phenomenon. So they've always been using that colonial or imperialist flag in Canada. Now, these two variant flags were used by these fighters in World War I up until 1928, when the so-called apartheid flag was established. Now, the flag that you know as apartheid flag, it was only adopted in 1928. So it's not necessarily an apartheid flag. It is a union flag, because apartheid started in 1948. You must understand this. So the flag itself, it was used from 1928. So it is called oranje blanje blauw. And many of us know it is an apartheid flag. Now, this oranje blanje blauw flag was adopted by Jan Smuts and Louis Botha. They had agreed that, hey, before, let us, remember, we are a union. So we are a group of Boers, that is Afrikaner, Dutch, and the British. So let us create a flag that is going to unite us, to show our unity. So if you look at that flag, the apartheid flag, leave the oranje blanje blauw colors, the backgrounds. You see it's orange on top, it's white, and it's blue. Leave those ones. Look at what is in the center. In the center, you've got the Dutch flag, you've got the Natal British flag, you also have got the UK flag in there, inside, to show that it was a flag of the union of these two dominations. So those particular flags, I'm going to run a little bit faster, so that I don't take you away. So these two flags, these flags, of the red one and the blue one were then discarded in South Africa. But they then used the so-called apartheid flag. I'll call it the apartheid flag. But the Boers who came into power, wanted to change that flag because they felt like, hey, we've won now, Kaloki, in 1948. We are no longer part of the British Union. We are a republic. So they tried, but they could not succeed to change that so-called apartheid flag because they felt like it had some elements of British or United Kingdom, and they saw UK or the English as its enemies. Bulu and English, they are enemies, but they always unite against the Africans. So they saw it as an insult to the Boer people. Now, they only had the chance to change that flag in the negotiations. So the Boers had the chance to change that flag in the negotiations when they were negotiating in the multi-party forum with its with the African National Congress and the National Party government. So that's when they had an opportunity to change. And it is at this moment that now, remember I told you about I told you about the establishment of the committee, the negotiations, and all of these things of the South African flag. So you look at that. That's how this fracas came to exist. Now, when the new flag came about, as I've already said, Mr. Brownell was accepted to be the person who developed the flag. Now, Brownell says about the colors, I said about Tatunkai, who is an African, but now I'm saying about Dr. Brownell, may he so rest in peace, about the colors. He says, white and blue reflect South Africa's colonial heritage. So the new flag now, the democratic flag, the one that is so famous, and it represents the colonial heritage. Remember, I told you about the red and the blue duster flag of after 1910. So they consolidated that, they put it in here. And the gold, black, and green are colors of the ANC. This is what Dr. Brownell said. He said they are colors of the ANC, and therefore they had to be included. And also, there is also the inclusion of the Zulus Inkatha Freedom Party within these colors. So they include also in that. That's according to Brownell, the person who has been given as a creator or a curator of this flag. And he also says, also this green, black, and gold include other political groupings, black political groupings of South Africa. So you would think about the liberation movement colors and so on and so forth. And then he says, and then there is an orange shade of red that is known as chili red, the red color on the top of the flag, which it is the midway between the colors of the British and Dutch colonial era flag. So if you look at the orange, the apartheid flag, so they took the orange color and they dimmed it and made it a little bit reddish, like the candle that you have outside of it. So it is still there, but now it reflects as red. So there's those colonial era flags that are reflected there. And then there's something, remember the English, Rhodes University and the English lesson that I was talking about. Then there's a V or a Y shape in the flag. You see that V in the middle. The V or a Y section represents Brownell's Anglican roots. So his Anglican roots are reflected in that flag as well. If your viewers can go and research about the Catholic or Anglican classical chasubles, the excuse me, the clothes that were worn or the garments and the vests that were worn by Anglican priests. They have that type of a V, and like you would see that, but now it is slightly put across. It is not standing, but it is put across so that you don't read it, you don't think about it as if I'm sorry for that. You don't think about it as if it is that Anglicanization of the, the, uh, the, the, the flag. Again, I said earlier, the Boers were broke away from the British, but the British also were trying to control the South African idea and ideal. So
Yes.
they put those things that they're hidden there. There are messages that are in the text that are hidden there that majority of people are unable to read and unable to understand. So that is where that's where the V and the Y in the section of the South African flag emanates from. Another point that is of interest, I think, the flag, the flag, the current South African flag, it was a temporary measure, by the way. It was they had agreed that probably by 1996 they would change it again, because the Kumpulo was called that government of national unity. Everybody was included. So there was conciliation, rainbow nation, rainbowism that was being created at that time. So the agreement was that, okay, let's agree on this flag, and then we will see later. Maybe we will have to change it. But after they had agreed to it because of the temporary measure, they somewhere adopted it later because it became popular. You know, things can be made popular. And there was a prime juice that was sold here. You remember that prime juice? I don't know, prime juice. So
Yes.
it was popular and it was popularized. All of a sudden now it is 15 rand or 8 rand 99. But at some point it was 60 rands. And like you see how the fuck people can you can create an agenda using the media and public platforms. So it was then popularized, and unfortunately or fortunately, it was then adopted. Now, in my closing, Siki, because I want to close, I'm at the conclusion. Rolf Meyer stated that initially there were 4 designs that he could recall. But they agreed on one, which was to become the national flag. And he says about this, we presented the flag to Madiba and Mr. de Klerk. They looked at it and said, test the people. They looked at it and they said, test the people. And he further says, a decision was never formally made about the adoption of the flag, but it was presented and literally became the flag because people of South Africa accepted it. Who confirms this conversation between de Klerk and Mandela? The BBC News reported the choice of the flag, that it was put before President F.W. de Klerk. Now, de Klerk, after the flag was brought to him, he called an impromptu National Party government cabinet meeting. You know, almost there are cabinet meetings. If you are not a member of the government, you can't attend a cabinet meeting. So by 1993 and 1994, before the inauguration of the government was National Party government. And that government agreed on the design that was brought forward, the one that is Brownwen's design. I'm saying Brownwen design, even though I say there is a contestation around that particular design. Now, after the cabinet meeting, the officials of apartheid government contacted the ANC chief negotiator at the time. So who was the ANC chief negotiator at the time when this flag was presented? It was Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa. So it was then they contacted him, who contacted and both of them, they agreed on the flag and then tested people, and that's how the flag design was adopted. Now, what we see in all these processes of the changes in the South African flags, you notice that at the heart of these proceedings, there are 2 men that are always involved. Between 1910 and 28, it was Smuts and Puotha. In 1948 and until 1961, it was Verwoerd and Malan. And in 1993 onwards, it was de Klerk and Mandela, and by extension, Ruth Meyer and Cyril Ramaphosa. So whether you love or hate the new South African flag, it is up to you. Whether you want to defend it or not defend it, and for me, it's a non-starter. It is up to you. The purpose of this talk on MaMiya Monday, in this Monday morning with MaMiya, was to say, defend something that you know. Don't defend something that you don't know. You must at least understand something that you understand the idea of South Africa and the things that are underlying in the post-South Africa establishment. Do not just go around and say, this is our flag. How did it become our flag? This is not our flag. And you don't even understand what is the idea of the flag behind. So that is the thinking and that is the conversation that I wanted to bring into this. Whether you hold allegiance to the flag or not, it's not my point. I'm a teacher. So my purpose is to teach. So whether you love the flag, you stand in front of it or you salute it, whatever the case might be, it is your baby. But Frantz Fanon has said that the flag freedom is abstract. The flag freedom does not bring us dignity. The flag freedom does not buy the loaf of bread. And the flag freedom does not give us the land. Ndiyaphela apha kule ndawo MaMiya. Enkosi kakhulu.
Yes. You know, in this long speech you gave us, the only thing that is at the top of my head is the fact that what I heard you say is that the flag is actually a union between DA, ANC, and IFP.
I see.
That is what and those are the ones that the Stellenbosch Mafia have been paying for anyways to run. They've been the ones running things. Even, you know, the more we're talking, we're realizing that the IFP ANC massacres in the 80s, 90s, those were sponsored clearly by Stellenbosch.
Yeah.
Because it's IFP and ANC again.
Yeah, there is evidence of that. So it's not an argument. You are not making an argument around those killings. There is evidence of that. There was a commission established, and there was a finding around that. So it's a fact. It's not an argument. It's not something that you suspect. Even your viewers must understand that relation.
So basically, the powers that be are using ANC and IFP. Those are their chess pieces on the chessboard of South Africa.
There is that possibility, MaMiya, and let me venture into political sciences or political analysis. You see what is happening in the government of provincial unity discussions in Gauteng. If you listen to the Democratic Alliance and their demands to Tatu Upanyaza, I suspect that they say give somebody else 2 seats. They say give. They don't mention who is this somebody else that you must give 2 seats to. So give somebody else 2 seats, and then you give us 3, and then you remain with 5 and your premier. And my thinking is that 2 that they want is the Inkatha. Yeah, but because they know that they've got a good relations with Inkatha. And there would be a silent coup that would take place between the Democratic Alliance and Inkatha against the ANC, which are a sellout movement, they themselves. But unfortunately, at this moment, they are there seems to be a control or a struggle for power. So some in the ANC they say no, not in our name, while others are saying no, you can proceed. So the question you are asking is probably we can look at it in that fashion as well. They want to use the Inkatha it will add on their numbers in the government of provincial unit, and when they want to hold the government of the provincial government in ransom, they will use Inkatha as part of that. So there could be an argument made around that.
Whoa. I don't know. It's, the more we have these political talks, the more depressing it gets, because you realize that literally we've been bamboozled. The politics don't make sense. You even see, I had said that I won't speak about EFF anymore, but you see the white capital influence there, you see how the political parties are almost like the dogs of white capital monopoly, and they get held back or they get released. So it's very scary, the political situation, because then who is for us? And I think that's why MK is so important.
But what is important, MaMiya, is that the 30 years of this democratic dispensation in this country provides us something. Provides us something with an ability now. Our eyes are able to see certain things. We are able to see certain things around the politics of this country. And this is it is good that we have these conversations, and it is good that finally we are talking about it. Majority of people don't want to talk about this flag. Majority of people don't want to talk about the constitution. Majority of people don't want to talk about the structure of politics. They don't want to talk about the problems of liberal democracy in South Africa. They don't want to talk about the money flow in the politics. They don't want to talk about and all of these things, but the 30 years of democracy provides us with that opportunity. The contestation of the IEC is important. The contestation of the independence of these institutions is important. We have to converse and have negotiations around these things, so that if we feel like they are not working for us, maybe we can find where we can copy somewhere. Like you see the West Africans, they have been part of the liberal democracy, but now they feel like maybe this thing is a fuckery. Maybe we should just try something else. You understand? So these conversations are good for that, and it makes it easy. So the idea that I had in the conversation was to say, here is your flag, here is our flag, here is the South African flag. Defend it at your own understanding. If you understand it, you defend it, you love it. If you love it, if you hate it, you hate it. But at least have a basic understanding of what is the flag. And this perspective is not alpha and omega. Somebody can contest it. There was a comment that said to you, Utatumkai is a click away. So I think Utatumkai can also have this conversation, and I would love to have a conversation with him as well around this.
That would be stunning. In fact, we can, all three of us, do it together. We can add him to the panel and we have this conversation properly again.
Properly. So anybody who is able to make us link him up, we should do that, because it's good that abantu baitu Africa, they can tell their own stories, and Moya provides that space. Uba sithethe ngezinto zakwaMoya esisemoyeni singabantwana bomoya.
Tamaku, thank you so much. This was so, it's so interesting, because when they were burning the flag, because they use, the white people in this country use the media to invoke our emotions, to guide us, to brainwash us, whatever. So I saw the drama in the media. Then, initially you're like, they burned the flag. Then I was like, but whose flag? And I wasn't quite sure. So now that you've given us the history of the flag, I'm just like, burn it. Burn it.
Ungabanjwa ke nabo bantu bakho that you say burn
it. And they're watching me. Yeah. The Jewish lawyers that are on my Twitter timeline who are watching me, it's crazy.
Yeah. So that's.
But thank you so much. I hope we can do this more often, because your lessons are always such a treat and so informative. So I'm hoping that we can maybe do it fortnightly or something. That would be so nice. We would appreciate that, definitely. I don't know if you guys have got any more questions in the comments section. Yes, let's follow the West African Revolution, definitely. Have you guys got any more questions for the guest otherwise, or thank yous? But I know that these guys really enjoyed it. They were really engaging the whole way through. So we really thank you, and we're going to see you again. We definitely are going to add a feature with you where we just break down politics more regularly. That will be so nice.
No. Thank you, MaMiya MaKHOSI. Thank you, and thank you to your viewers as well. I hope this
thank
was
you, guys.
helpful.
It was so beautiful. Okay, there we go. There's someone saying that's a good way to end it. Lungani saying thank you for Thando. And we are ending the stream, guys. Oh, there is one more comment there. The fourth branch of the government media will make you love the people who are hated and hate the people you should love. Absolutely. Great way to end it off, guys. Please catch up on yesterday's episodes. They're divine. All the latest episodes are incredible. So, oh, he's already removed himself from the stage. But thank you so much for joining. It was so nice to be with you. I see you still, Tamaku, guys. I really love you, and I love working with you and for you. And please don't be shy to contribute to the channel. Love and light. Oh, there's one more question. I appreciate you more, and I absolutely adore you. You guys are my life.